Hey guys, today I am reacting to Dubai is a Parody of the 21st Century by Adam something. So should be pretty interesting. I mean, it has like 4 million something views at the moment, so yeah. And I guess like Dubai has taken up a somewhat like fantastical image in many people's minds. And I mean, in some ways it makes sense. I mean, what with how rich the country is, the UAE, of course, and even the city. Yeah, Dubai is rich. Lots of monuments at the tallest building in the world, I think, and yeah, lots of other like amazing feats and such. But yeah, I'm gonna guess there's something behind that. Like, there might be a bit of vanity, and there's also a bit of like the labor practices in the UAE are not the best, I've heard. So yeah, let's get into the video.
Most of us picture towering skyscrapers.
Okay.
When we hear the word Dubai, most of us picture towering skyscrapers, immense wealth, police with Lamborghinis, 7-star hotels with the absolute cream of society inside them. Also the Palm Islands, the World Islands, the Burj Khalifa, the Burj Al Arab, futuristic symbols of incredible wealth. And so in light of all that, I'm here to make the case that Dubai, the Emirates, and the Gulf countries in general are one of the worst places on the planet. Now this is a rather bold claim, I realize, but it's one that I can substantiate fully. So let's take a look at what's really behind the glitz and glamour, the true face of Dubai and the Gulf countries. To better understand what's going on in a place like Dubai, first let's talk about Romania. In the decades following World War II, Bucharest, the capital, came to face the same problem as many Eastern European capitals did at the time. As urbanization increased and huge residential areas were built out, the need arose for new, high-capacity public transportation. And so Nicolae Ceausescu, the dictator of Romania back in the day, gave out the order to construct a metro line. And so the engineers created a line proposal and presented it to him. And then Ceausescu was like, "No, I will design the route personally." And so the former shoemaker
Not a good idea. No. That's bad.
Who also called himself the genius of the Carpathians, I am not making this up, sat down and redesigned the entire metro line to have it run along the river underneath. Yes, along. But Nicolae Ceausescu's wife, Elena Ceausescu, a former textile factory worker, also got her fair share of planning. Reportedly, when the planners presented the final version of the metro line to the Ceausescu couple, Elena Ceausescu reportedly asked why the metro would stop inside the inner city at Piața Romana, inquiring what kind of factories there are. The planners told her there aren't any factories, but there is the Bucharest University of Economics where there are lots of students. Hearing that, Elena Ceausescu reportedly said, "Students? They've gotten fat, they grew a belly, they should walk. No station at Romana, let them walk." And so, since Nicolae Ceausescu added nothing to that and nobody else dared to oppose his wife, the station was axed from the plans. But of course everyone outside of
Yeah, terrible idea.
the dictator power couple knew that this was fucking stupid. And so the engineers, having enough foresight, decided to build the station in secret, banking on the fact that they would need to build a station there anyway due to future public pressure. And they were correct. The end result was this ridiculous and dangerously narrow station, since the engineers couldn't build a normal station hall, since they had to disguise their little secret project as regular tunnel boring. And so the moral of the story is, smooth brain dictator plus construction
At least they built it, but yeah, not very future-proof to, how small it had to be. But at least they built it. Good on them, yeah.
equals dumb shit. And boy, what a perfect segue this is to the video's actual subject, Dubai.
A lot of things that are just badly, I guess, that don't need to be built maybe, or just badly built in some areas, I would guess, because of money and such.
The city of Dubai is a fucking joke. It's a tasteless parody of everything wrong with modern humanity. And so why do I say that? Let's go through it, shall we?
Guessing that's the monument to idiocy, I'm gonna guess that's the Burj Khalifa.
Now, in my video about skyscrapers, I have already talked about the Burj Khalifa. It's a big dumb tower of glass and steel stuck in the middle of the desert, serving no other purpose than a petrodollar fueled dick measuring contest.
That's actually a good point.
And the building even has its own poem about itself. Like seriously, how pretentious can you get?
I am the life force of collective aspirations and the aesthetic union of many cultures. I simulate dreams, stir emotions, and
What the hell is that noise? Oh no, it's the poop trucks. Yeah, did you know that the Burj Khalifa isn't connected to its sewage system? So every single day a huge line of poop trucks have to queue up next to the building and suck out all the poop. So
Oh man, that is gross. Oof. Hope they're planning to build some septic tanks and such, and some connections to the sewer system, because that's gross.
Omar's ambition and Dubai's shining dream included the world's tallest skyscraper but not a sewer system. And besides, I talked about this before in the
Why though? Why? That should be one of the first things you build.
skyscrapers video. There's actually not much point to building a skyscraper. Like the only situation where
That's true. Yeah, you don't actually need skyscrapers from what I've read. They're not like it's not necessary really. You're better off just building, more densely, of course. High rises. But you don't need skyscrapers specifically. I mean, you can still build multi-story buildings and such, but just skyscrapers themselves are a bit unnecessary because it gets that tall. It's like a waste.
where it might make sense is when you're physically out of space, but trust me, Dubai does not
I mean, even then, it's not like they're absolutely necessary. But it does help a bit if you are very limited in space.
have this problem, which ties into the next suspects.
Oh, the Palm Islands. Yeah, I never really thought the Palm Islands were a good idea, to be honest. Like, they don't even need them, really. It just seems like vanity, to be honest. Yeah.
Dubai's Palm Islands are the OG symbols of the city. The construction of the first one, the Palm Jumeirah, started in 2001, if you can believe that. And according to Google's satellite images, it's still not finished, it's still getting built out. And just for good measure, let's take a look at what they actually built here. I mean, these things do look nice from space, but what are they really, from up close and personal? Well, the stem is an 8-lane urban freeway.
What the hell? Are you kidding me? It's a freeway? Bruh, what?
And the leaves are just individual suburban streets. Oh.
This is literally some dumb stuff. What the heck? Why would they just... It's a terrible idea. Honestly. It sounds like they just took the worst of, I guess, like American suburbs and just placed it here. Not a good idea.
And there's also a monorail in the middle. Oh, and
Hey, at least they have a monorail. I guess.
between the Point and Nakheel Mall, there are no stations.
So, there's no stations, but you have a monorail? That's dumb. That is dumb. Seems like it's gonna be a car-centric place, unfortunately.
So then, how do people living on the leaves get on this thing? Well, it's a rhetorical question, of course. Just like the real suburbs in America, this thing was built around cars. And the second palm,
Bad idea.
the Jebel Ali, will be more the same. And then there are the world islands, of course, which are just a complex of tiny islands for the ultra-rich and their villas. And oh my god,
Yeah, I've always thought this one was stupid as well.
wow, this looks outright post-apocalyptic, Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
Oh, and there's a
kinda
third
does.
palm under construction if the two weren't enough. Oh, and by the way, the sand they use for the palms is not desert sand. They can't use it because the grains are too big. Instead, they have to get the sand from the seafloor. And they achieve this by sucking it up with these big tanker ships. And also annihilating acres of marine life in the process. Oh, and by the way, these palms...
Are you kidding me? That's shitty as hell. Okay, I mean... These are unnecessary, like, really, really unnecessary, especially with destroying all this marine life and such, and getting it from the bottom of the ocean. What the fuck? Honestly, they can't even go through, like, some process where they, I don't know, process the desert sand, make it more useful, maybe? Find some other solution, because it honestly seems unnecessary. You don't even need these islands.
Palm Islands were built on top of natural coral reefs, which they just ended up basically burying. Oh, and according to NASA measurements, all these islands are sinking at a rate of 5 millimeters per year.
Bruh, they're sinking too.
And by the way, have you heard about this thing called rising sea levels? According to the Environment Agency Abu Dhabi, under the most severe climate change scenario, nearly all of Dubai, including the Palm Islands, would be underwater. Alright, so
This is dumb, honestly. This is just really dumb. Maybe Dubai should be doing something a bit more similar to the Dutch, maybe? Building dikes and reclaiming more land in a smart way. If they really wanted land. Or just focusing on what they already have, to be honest.
So let me get this straight. You had all the money and power in the world to create anything, and you have paid money to annihilate a coral reef to build a sinking suburb on top of it. Perhaps I treated you too harshly.
Yeah.
And here's the kicker about these islands. That's right, I'm still not done. Why build them on the sea to begin with? I mean, you have the desert. You have all the space you will ever need. So why not just build the palms inverted into the land? You know, having the actual body of the palm not out of sand but out of water. It would look just as impressive from space, and it
That would be kind of cool. Still unnecessary, but it's better than what they have.
wouldn't even demolish all the aquatic life. Hang on a second, they did do something like this already, just below the palm tree.
No, that does not look like that. That looks...
And, oh no.
What the hell is with this shape? Holy crap.
Oh, these are American-style suburbs? Oh man. I can't
Not a good
believe it.
idea.
They took the
Not a good idea. Ugh. Especially now that the USA is kind of learning from its mistakes a little bit as well, and it's moving away from suburbs, it seems. Okay, I mean, of course, not fully true, but I mean, at least many people know nowadays that suburbs are not the best solution.
worst urbanism practices from the US, and they implemented it one-to-one. And we actually have all the circles of urbanism hell in here. Copy-paste housing, cul-de-sacs, giant
This is not good for the cities here, so they're just messing it up.
highways cutting through the area, no public transportation, a 12-lane arterial road, Jesus Christ. And so this will
Are you kidding me? Cities are, cities and streets are for people, not for cars. What the frick are they doing?
be our segue to Dubai's urbanism in general is just complete bonkers. It's kind of its own little bubble, really. A strange little rich people's dystopia in the desert. Take a look at this arrangement. Two sections of skyscrapers separated by a 20-something lane freeway, and behind it a bunch of cul-de-sac suburbs and golf courses. It's this strange mixture between Futurama
That's just dumb.
and evil Los Angeles. And this just makes me
Yeah, evil Los Angeles. I mean, Los Angeles is already very terribly designed. And this is just worse,
feel so
yeah.
frustrated because all that money and all that power, they could have done so much more and so much better than this. The way I understand
They really, really could have, honestly. You should not have these big-ass highways and streets. You really should not.
it, the main motive behind building all this flashy stuff was to try and increase tourism, to help the Emirates economy transition away from oil revenues, which is, fair enough. But then why not build something truly unique? Something that isn't just a big dumb tower of glass and steel, or a couple dozen suburban streets on sinking sandbanks, or gigantic malls or golf courses. Imagine a city with full-on historic Arabic Golden Age architecture with modern elements. Okay, this is concept
That would be epic, honestly. That would be freaking epic.
art from Diablo 3, but you get the idea. I have seen skyscrapers, malls, suburbs, urban freeways, or golf courses before. What I haven't seen is a historical or at least historicist Arab city. That would be a great way of spending all those petrodollars, or at least a
It really would be. That would be epic. Like, no cap, bro. That'd be freaking epic.
better way, I would say. And that might even attract a more quality crowd instead of the oligarchs, trust fund babies, and Novo-rich idiots. Okay, that's a bit unfair, but Dubai right now is not exactly a haven of intellectualism, so to speak. By the way, did you know that only 10% of the Emirates population is actually Emirati? The other 90% being immigrants and expats. Well, actually, they're all immigrants. It's just that white people came up with this word expat, so they don't have to call themselves immigrants abroad because that word is reserved for brown people.
Although I do think expats means temporary, so you will go back eventually, but there probably are a lot of just people that are going to stay. I guess white people that are just, that really are immigrants, that are going to stay there permanently. So yeah, I could kind of see that too.
Speaking of which,
Slave state.
and this right here is my biggest problem with Dubai, the Emirates, and the Gulf states in general. All that luxury, wealth, and opulence you see all around you in Dubai rests on a mountain of human tragedies. Poor people from third world countries such as India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh are lured in by work agencies promising high wages and stable employment. People take loans from friends and family so they can cover the costs of their travel and work visa, usually more than $2,000, despite Emirati law requiring the companies to pay for those. Upon arrival, workers' passports are often confiscated, essentially trapping them inside the country. Workers are forced to work
That's just messed up.
up to 12-hour shifts, up to 7 days a week, for $175 per month on average. Wage arrears are common, many workers not receiving money for months on end. To quote from a Human Rights Watch report, the impact on workers whose wages are withheld for even 1 month is very serious. They immediately fall into arrears on the debt they owe recruiting agencies in their home countries. They incur additional interest, and they are unable to send money home for their families who depend on their income earned in the Emirates. In some cases, the non-payment of wages means that workers do not have money to buy food or basic goods and end up borrowing money just to survive. The COVID epidemic only made things worse. That and the oil price
Oh yeah, if you think about it, it really did.
crashing left many workers jobless. Consequently, many were abandoned by their former employers. They now spend their days in half-abandoned worker camps on the outskirts of the city. Only volunteers and their food donations standing between them and starvation. A Guardian article quotes a construction worker called Hassan. He says, "Guests on and off visit and give something, but when nobody comes, we have to starve. We have nothing." All this just a few kilometers away from the 7-star hotels, the world's tallest skyscraper, the world's biggest mall, and the golf courses for rich foreigners. According to the estimates of the Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative, between 2012 and mid-2018, more than 10 Indian workers died in Gulf countries every single day. And these are just the Indians. In addition to that, a Jezebel article goes on to say that at least 2 Indians commit suicide every single week in the Emirates. A number, they say, that is simultaneously both shocking yet unsurprising. They show photos of the accommodation the workers have to endure, unfit even for animals. A harsh contrast to Instagram's parallel universe. They call this system modern slavery, and I'm afraid they are correct. This and the previously mentioned issues, but especially this, is why I hate the Emirates and especially fucking hate Dubai.
Makes sense, honestly.
The city of Dubai is a fucking joke, one that's unusually cruel. It's a twisted parody of everything wrong with modern humanity. I'll leave you with a poem from Bertolt Brecht, written in 1935, titled "Questions from a Worker Who Reads." Who built Thebes of the 7 gates? In the books you will read the names of kings. Did the kings haul up the lumps of rock? And Babylon, many times demolished, who raised it up so many times? In what houses of gold glittering Lima did its builders live? Where, the evening that the Great Wall of China was finished, did the masons go? Great Rome is full of triumphal arches. Who erected them? Over whom did the Caesars triumph? Had Byzantium, much praised in song,
Don't like the name Byzantium, but okay. Yeah.
only palaces for its inhabitants? Even in fabled Atlantis, the night that the ocean engulfed it, the drowning still cried out for their slaves. The young Alexander conquered India. Was he alone? Caesar defeated the Gauls. Did he not even have a cook with him? Philip of Spain wept when his armada went down. Was he the only one to weep? Frederick II won the 7 Years' War. Who else won it? Every page a victory. Who cooked the feast for the victors? Every 10 years a great man. Who paid the bill? So many reports, so many questions. Thank you for watching. I'm sorry the video took such a dark turn in the end, but as I was looking up stuff for Dubai for the video, I kept encountering more and more just alarmingly fucked up information. Like, Jesus Christ. Anyway, thank you for watching once again, and please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and do check out my Patreon tiers. Link.
Absolutely great video. And yeah, the question at the end, I mean, I guess the poem, who built all these things? I mean, who does the hard work and the labor involved and everything? That's a question you should ask and like really think about it. We should really value the workers and, you know, working class people. We should value that. Every job has its purpose. Like, every job should be valued. There's honor in doing a common job. There's honor in doing the things that people need done, in my opinion, of course. Let's check out some of the comments, actually. Should be interesting. Okay. Dubai is the real life representation of a really clean room with all that junk shoved under the bed. Yeah, I can see that. It's like city skylines, when you aren't limited by economics, nor care about practicality, or the lives of people. You can construct any artsy fantasy you want. I spent a month in Dubai because my daughter was working there for Emirates. To say that I wasn't impressed was putting it mildly. Yes, there was lots of glitz to look at. However, the song Hotel California kept repeating in my mind. Basically, that sums up Dubai for me in a nutshell. If you have the misfortune to get past the robe's fierceness, which isn't hard to do, you will find it's a godless place to be. I'm a Romanian from Bucharest, and I literally laughed through your first part segue. It's absolutely right on, both with public characters with lots of power on their hands. I just rubbed this off the bucket list in my mind. Yeah, a little bit too. I mean, I wouldn't mind visiting, but still, yeah, it does not seem the most appealing now. And also the heat, to be honest, it's just too hot for me. Went there last week and it was insanely hot and humid to the point where you can't breathe out without running into the air-conditioned mall/hotels and taxis. Also, what a coincidence, me and Fug browsing random YouTube videos at the same time. But anyways, if you go, visit in the winter. Okay, well, I would visit in the winter then, most likely. Okay, its best time will be October to March, and this guy says a lot of these claims aren't true. I do have to ask, what is Dubai going to deal with rising temperatures and rising sea levels due to climate change? Maybe they should build a lot of, like, nuclear reactors, of course, farther away from the coast and such. You know, just make sure they are, like, up-to-date, steady up. But yeah, nuclear reactors probably help a lot with all these things happening. Maybe more underground structures, like naturally cooling, you know. Yeah. Just there definitely are some things they can do. And of course more metros and less cars, you know. Cars make things harder. More plants though. Going to any Middle Eastern country during the summer is a death wish. As someone who lives in the capital, I can say that it is absolute hell out there. That's a global warming issue that needs global warming solutions. I have no clue about. I'd have to agree summer here isn't fun though. It's extremely hot and humid and a lot of people travel around this time. They have been encouraging green living and solutions in so many different ways, but I believe the world needs to step it up a bit. Yeah. And you know, another thing I was just thinking of, maybe they should build higher, not like skyscrapers and such, but just like just higher elevated areas, because usually those areas are cooler. So maybe if they like more mountainous regions or like hilly areas, maybe they should build there, just so it's a bit cooler. None of this is misleading. They're facts. The Burj Khalifa not having a sewage system is hysterical. This whole city is like that bit from The Simpsons where Omar has all his skin pulled back. Brilliant. You have done the world a service. Sadly, shiny things still get all the attention. More, please. The Palm Islands look like something you would build in Prison Architect. This is not a parody of modernity. It is the reality of the narrow, tasteless inward culture, which is, of course, is perfect and cannot be questioned. Imagine using your wealth to build useless islands out of sand when your city still doesn't have a functioning sewage system. I don't think the city doesn't have a functioning sewage system. I think it's just that with the Burj Khalifa. It is does attract tourists, but still it is a bit useless. Since when did Dubai not have a functioning sewage system? It's not that they don't have a system to isolate, transport, treat, and dispose of human waste, but that they don't do it through pipes and whatnot. Okay. Sewage from areas of Dubai not connected to the municipal pipe network at the time is collected daily from thousands of holding tanks across the city and driven by tankers to the city's only sewage treatment plant at Al Awir. Because of the long queues and delays, several tanker drivers resorted to illegally dumping the raw sewage into storm drains or behind dunes in the desert, resulting in much controversy. Oh, gross. Ew. Oof. Dubai has a functioning sewer system. It's just that the ridiculously unnecessary super scraper doesn't have a very necessary sewage system. Okay, there's a lot of dumb stuff here, but slavery intensifies. Yeah. Ah, man. Alright, this was an interesting video though, really enlightening on the subject. If you enjoyed my reaction, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.